Hello and welcome back to Hip Hop Time Machine episode 6. It's been a while as I took a trip to the roots of all this, some exciting and historic studios in the US. These places and the people in them were responsible for pioneering early blues and rock and roll recordings and stylizing the use of space on mixes. The sonic choices made by the Chess Brothers in Chicago and Sam Phillips in Memphis and the performances they got out of their artists paved the way for a lot of what we regard as popular music. I learned a lot from seeing and hearing the equipment and the spaces and talking to people on the sonic adventure. But that will be the focus of many future episodes. Today, I want to stay on the notion of space and its ambient manifestations within a mix. Remember, this was the missing link in our drum mixing adventures from episodes 3 and 4. For anyone who has grown up in the era of plugins or even digital reverb units, the illusion of space within a mix may seem like a really easily attainable sonic characteristic. Insert a reverb effect on a channel or bus, dial in some room, hall or plate reverb, give it some aux or dry wet decibels, and off you go. Your dry, closed mic sources now sound like they're in Royal Albert Hall. Yet there was a time when if you wanted the feeling of space around your instruments, you actually had to capture it. Capture the reflections from room surfaces, let the sources bleed on adjacent mics, or send all your recordings to an actual echo chamber. What is that? Well, it should really be called a reverberation chamber, but the name sounded way cooler like that, so it's stuck. So a reverb chamber was a separate reverberant room, sometimes purposely built, sometimes just a lavatory or staircase, where the engineers would place as good a speaker as possible, send the previously made recordings to it, then record the result of the direct sounds blending with the room reflections at the other end of the room. Bringing this back to the mix and balancing it against the previously made recordings not only made them sound like they were recorded in a larger recording space, but it also made them blend better, and it made the mix glue more effectively. But why not record in a larger space in the first instance? Well, for starters, not everybody had access to large recording spaces. Even studios and recordings that are now revered were made under less than ideal circumstances. Independent producers using DIY techniques, abusing early, inadequate technology in hotel rooms, offices, and converted spaces. Chess Records was a converted car showroom. Sound's live room was at the back of Sam Phillips' office. And J&M Music Studio in New Orleans, well, that's now a laundrette. It's also a question of control. Being able to blend detail and accuracy against epicness. Finding out about the DIY techniques behind many of the records I love gave me the courage to attempt it myself, resorting to the infamous bathroom chamber with its hard, reflective surfaces. Here's the recipe. One good studio monitor, a good condenser mic, enough space and distance to generate reflections, an interface that can send pre-recorded audio to the speaker, and that can record what the bathroom mic picks up at the same time. It's worth experimenting with different angles on both the speaker and the mic, as well as different mic polarities, to capture maximum reflections but also a pleasing frequency response. I was also considering what sort of combinations of the recorded instruments I should send, all at the same time, individually, before any EQ or compression, or after. In the name of research, I tried them all so I could experiment in the mix. My favorite option was to use individual, unprocessed recordings, which philosophically is a little bit closer to what would have happened to the original sources had they been recorded in a space like that. Bringing this back to the mix added a very interesting depth and texture to the bass, piano, drums and harp. It also felt more original, authentic and unique than any commercially available reverb signatures, which fits with the retro vibe pursued on this hip-hop time machine. The instruments that had been recorded in different rooms or DI'd were also brought into the same space, creating coherency for the mix. The final touch was to bring in an era-specific plate reverb to the equation in order to separate the harp a little bit and give it a special character. The EMT 140 was built in 1958 and UAD make a really good emulation of it. The final mix here features the drum mixing from previous episodes, plus a little bit of additional mixing on the bass, piano and harp. There are also some processors on the mix bass, emulating a late 1950s workflow and signal flow, but these are topics for future episodes. See you soon.